Hey, what's up guys? It's your boy Loose Butthole, and today we're gonna see if we can beat Fallout 2 Nuclear Boogaloo as a complete idiot. Having 3 or less intelligence changes the game drastically because you pretty much cannot have a proper conversation with anybody in the entire game. So I named my character Big Biscuit, and Big Biscuit likes to use his big old dick beaters to beat people up, but later on I'm gonna switch to big guns because I do like things that are big, which is why I hate my penis. I got small frame so I don't get shot in the face while I try to run up on my ops, and bloody mess because my monkey brain likes to see things explode into a million bite-sized pieces. It's a good thing my peers understand my mental struggles and talk like me by saying things like, Big Biscuit, you go temple, you take test, you not come back here until take test. And I respond with a good ol' me go. The trial of tutorials wasn't too bad since you have to go through it using melee only anyway, and I have Fist of Steel and absolutely bludgeon these ants and scorpions to death with ease. I make it to the end of the trial where I face my final foe being a fellow tribesman, and I rub my 2 brain cells together to finesse him into fighting me unarmed because he doesn't know that I'm packing absolute bombs in these fists right now. After knocking the chap off his lips, he runs away like a little biatch, and I get to talk to all my homies, but they mostly just talk to me because most of my responses are variations of and guh. The elder here tells me to go find Vault 13 to get the GECK, which I assume is some type of lizard, and since I am simply too stupid to talk to people, the only thing I can do is bare knuckle box a few plants to death and head out to Klamath.
Would you please use your special talents and rid my garden of the plants of dark soul?
First thing I do when I arrive is attempt to read, which is obviously a mistake because words apparently look like pesky little bug-like marks, and it's so difficult that I need a nap after trying to decipher these symbols. But at least I can decipher pictures because there's a Brahmin with an X through it, meaning I should either kill them or protect them. But I find out when I talk to the village idiot Tor, and hilariously we're both so stupid that we're actually able to communicate with each other as if we were intellectual scholars discussing the benefits of nuclear fusion. So we head out to protect the Brahmins, or Mumus as I've nicknamed them. I smacked the shells off all the scorpions to protect them and then tried to relax by getting some action at the local bathhouse, but apparently telling the owner I might piss my pants any moment doesn't inspire any confidence. So instead I head to the local tavern and tell the owner, quote, Argle Goop, and then she says I remind her of Tor, but I didn't know they had the dark web in the Fallout universe. I talk to Sulik, who says I have stupid spirits, and with a series of grunts and ooga boogas, I was somehow able to convince him to join my team, and now I have a companion. Then I traded my goods for some brass knuckles, so now my Fists of Fury have a little friend wrapped around them. And I decided to use those to take out some rats because this here fella asked me to do it, and I enthusiastically said, hee hee, rat kill. So I used my fist to give them a 5-finger beatdown and absolutely explode all the rats into a fine paste, which floods my brain with dopamine, which my character probably assumes is some type of marijuana. After exploding the rats with my kung fu fist, I leveled up again and got my first perk, and decided to go with toughness, which as you can guess, makes you more tough and gives you extra damage resistance, which I will probably need since I have to get into cock sniffing range to actually hit anybody. Eventually I murdered every single rat in this joint, and that's all I can do here, so I head to the den and try to read this sign, but hurt my brain in the process. I tried to talk to Rebecca, but can only leave her with my best Scooby-Doo impression, and a similar story with Laura here, who suggests I need a doctor of some sort. And Flick, who I normally get a lot of goods from, won't talk to me and asks me if I'm dumb or something, and I think it's or something, so I decide to murder him and take all of his stuff because his big words make me angry. Since nobody wants to talk to me, I decided to take my frustrations out on these here hooligans. And I run into an issue that I'll probably have a lot with an unarmed build, where people decide, rightfully so, to run away from my devastating dick beaters, and I have to chase them around for a while like an aggressive game of tag until I can manage to punch a hole through their chest. But at least that gives me this locket that I'm able to bury for this quest without actually having to talk to anybody, so that's nice. But first you have to talk to her ghost, and surprisingly, screaming Ghostbuster at her at the top of my lungs doesn't get me where I need to be. So I just say, okay, and she disintegrates into a pile of bones, which I promptly bury. Only thing left to do now is kill a bunch of people so I can get some XP. And me and Sulik have a great system where I knock people on their ass and he bludgeons them in the head with a sledgehammer. Works out pretty well. I did try to kill the slavers for a few hours, but couldn't do it, so I decided to move on for now until I can get a big gun. So then I head to Modoc, and surprisingly this man was able to communicate with me that he wants me to go to a spooky ghost farm and figure out what's going on there, and in return, he'll tell me about the GECK I'm searching for. But before that, this gentleman here, after thoroughly examining my teeth, said I am a fine specimen and asked me to kill some dogs that are attacking his cows, and made sure to emphasize that dogs go woof woof and cows go moo. I'm a little skeptical about that last part, but I take his word for it and take out the dogs. After that, I head to the spooky ghost farm, and surprisingly, I'm able to understand that the bodies here are actually fake and just covered in Brahmin blood. And once I get captured by the leader, he gives me a message to give to the guy who gave me the quest and says that he's not surprised that I wasn't scared by the dead bodies because I'm probably too stupid to know what's going on. He's correct. So I take the message back to him, and he has no interest in explaining what it says to me because he says I am probably too stupid to understand anyway, and he's probably right. And also, he doesn't actually know about the GECK, just a place called Gecko, so I call him a jerk because he is. And unfortunately, I'm simply too stupid to do anything at Gecko, so I hit the dusty trail instead and head to Vault City. And on the way to Vault City, I get a glimpse of the beast from the east, the absolute goat, Frank motherfucking Horrigan. Oh, I also forgot that there's one more quest that you can do at Modoc, and it's to kill some rats for this dude, and he gives you a half-eaten cookie as a reward. Nice. Definitely worth getting poisoned and radiated for half a Chips Ahoy. Anyway, continuing the theme so far, there's not much I can do here. You could heal this guy with your doctor skill, and something that's actually unique for when you're playing a big old dummy idiot is that you can use the auto dock and then click the ride again Wii option, and you'll get a permanent +2 HP, so that's neato. You could also return this beautiful Nixon doll to this child, which is sad because I seemed very attached to it from the brief moments we spent together. But the best part about Vault City with low intelligence is when you try to get inside, the man at the entrance will notice your little brain predicament and decide that you would be a perfect slave. I mean servant. And you actually get a little cutscene where they call you not very intelligent and much harsher words, and you can actually get access to Vault City this way. I also say assistants like ass tense, which is fun, but unfortunately I did scare this man with my pure enthusiasm. After that, I somehow managed to connect my Pip-Boy to this computer after electrocuting myself, which adds some locations to my map. I tried talking to Lynette, but she just epically roasts me and then kicks me out of Vault City.
You're wearing a vault suit. I never imagined I would meet an inhabitant of another vault. This Vault 13, where is it located? That must be your IQ on your jumpsuit. Not a vault number.
So instead I head to Broken Hills, where I can finally get a decent unarmed weapon after obliterating this super mutant in an arm wrestling contest that I totally did not take copious amounts of drugs to get buff enough to beat him. But if you do lose, he makes you his bitch and gives you a ball gag to keep, so that's nice of him. Also, you can do the test with the Scorpion, and the doctor feels so bad for your low intelligence that he gives you some Mentats, which I refuse to use because they increase your intelligence. And if you move this sentient plant, he'll even teach you the flying liver attack to beat the Scorpion at chess. You could also break these fools out of prison for some XP and find Typhon's treasure by giving him a little dirty magazine and coming back an hour later after he has thoroughly read through all of its contents. But then you need to get him a sex doll from New Reno, so I put a pin in that. And last but not least, you can get Marcus to kick your ass because you insulted him. And on the way to New Reno, I got my first big boy gun because I got attacked by a group of ne'er-do-wells who didn't realize that I was packing a million suns in my fist at the moment and punched a hole through all of their chest cavities. Sadly, it's just a flamethrower, so it has pretty short range, but hey, it's something. But I arrived to New Reno, where there are a few things that we can do here. But the first thing I do is go to the basement of the new arms store to upgrade my power fist to a mega power fist. But unfortunately, I am unable to communicate my desires to this man, and we end up playing a fun little game of cops and robbers where my finger guns are so damn powerful that they actually kill this man on the spot. Oops. At least I can get the electronic lockpick here. After that, I decide to put my ferocious fist to good use and become a prize fighter in the boxing ring, where I do have the option to punch this tiny man in the face and take his lunch money, but I resist. And for my boxing nickname, I picked Your Name, thinking it would be Big Biscuit, but no, it's literally just the phrase, Your Name. Anyway, I was able to win with a series of punches to the cock and managed to not get my ear bitten off. And as you can guess, you cannot talk to any of the families in New Reno, but you can say say shamalama ding dong, which I think more than makes up for it. You're also too stupid to gamble, but get many options to try to activate it with your voice, with my favorite being, "Are you a water chip?" So now I head to the good old NCR and get jump scared by my elder from the village to remind me that they're like totally gonna die without that gecko. And once I arrive, I finally get a decent heavy weapon, and it's actually probably one of the best heavy weapons in the game, being the Bozar for the low price of free 50. After that, we do some drugs to get swole so we can talk to Myra, who will give us a quest to kill a man named Officer Jack, but we'll get to that in a minute, because I wanted to take out the slavers real quick, which reminds me that I still need to rescue Vic from the den. Holy shit, Bozar, I didn't recognize your game. Also, annoyingly, you can't actually talk to your companions due to you being really stupid. So you can't tell them to put their weapons away, and you can't have weapons inside of the NCR. So you annoyingly have to make sure that they don't have any unarmed weapons and then customize them to use unarmed weapons, so they'll just use their fist instead. Anyway, I find Officer Jack, who's threatening to blow up the power plant, and I was surprisingly not able to use my advanced intellect to convince him not to do it, so I blew him into a million pieces instead. After that, I fart on this man, which predictably makes him angry, and me and my homie take turns roundhouse kicking him in the neck. I also drooled on this man to get a Zeta scan, which increases my luck by 2. What a wild sentence. Anyway, I was able to talk to Tandy in a mostly normal way and get the quest to go to Vault 15. Before that though, the guard here at the Weston Ranch literally takes pity on me for being so dumb and says that Mr. Weston has a soft spot for people like me and just lets me in. He gives me a job to guard some moo-moos, and nothing happens until a couple talking Deathclaws come by and say they don't want to hurt the humans and just take off. So then I head to Vault 15, where you can pretty much do everything. Although everything is just to rescue this girl and kill everybody in Vault 15, but my character does say his first very normal line because I think they just forgot to put a dumb line in to replace it. Also, the only negative of this gun is that it's so goddamn powerful that I can't shoot anywhere near the vicinity of Solek because he just gets obliterated in the crossfire. But I get the stuff I need, get the location to Vault 13, and then head over there to be greeted by some Deathclaws. First time I ever played this game, I started blasting because they scared the shit out of me. But these are actually the talking Deathclaws from earlier, and normally you would have to convince them to let you look around, but they take pity on my unintellectual ass and let me stay. So I explore for a bit and finally find the gecko that I've been looking for, along with some nav part thingamajig. You could also recruit Goris if you wanted, who is totally not 2 Deathclaws wearing a trench coat, but I only have enough charm for 1 companion, and me and Solek have been through a lot together, so I'm keeping him. Before I go drop off the gecko to my people, I decided to clean up a few things by first going back to the den to finally rescue Vic and then clear out the Wendigo mine. On my long journey, I found this bridge where this guy asks you some questions, and thankfully he let me pass despite me giving him nonsensical answers, and then I tried to kill him, but he summoned exploding cows on me. Don't you hate it when that happens? After that, I cleared out the Wendigo mine, freed Vic from his captors, and then headed to my home. And on the way there, I got another random encounter that teleported me back to the vault from Fallout 1, and here you actually break the water chip, which inadvertently causes the events of Fallout 1, which is pretty funny. But eventually I arrive home and see the Elder looking a little worse for wear. So apparently some shiny purdy people came from the sky and took the...
No, not shiny pretty.
Okay, so the not shiny purdy people came and took my people away, and he directs me towards the military base.
Yes, gone. Many dark souls came riding the metal.
So I head over to the base, roundhouse kick some dogs in the head, kill some mutants, grab the power armor, and head over to good old San Francisco. And once I arrive, the Brohood asks me to get some vertibird plants from them from the Enclave, but first I get Solek a mega super duper power fist and save this damsel in distress. After that, I had to take out the Hebologist, who gracefully let me in due to feeling sorry for me, which is a common theme so far. But before I start blasting, I talk to their leader, who, just like Tor from the beginning of the game, can actually understand me and deciphers my gibberish to meaningful words. And then he asks me to kill the she leader. I killed him instead. Unfortunately, I try to talk to the Emperor computer, but all I can do is drool. So hopefully the Brohood guy will keep his promise and fuel the tanker for me for bringing the plans back. So then I head up to the shiny Bugman land to get the vertibird plans, and at this point, I very unfortunately and regrettably had to get rid of Solek, because when you have this low of intelligence, you can't can't ask your companion to wait anywhere, and if he follows me in there, everybody will attack me. I wouldn't really be able to bring him with me throughout the majority of the Enclave ship anyway, so unfortunately, I had to old yeller his ass. I poured one out for my dead homies, and then went inside, got some new shiny armor, and surprisingly, I was able to get into the commander's office by telling this dude that I fucked a dog, I think. I did end up having to fight my way out anyway, because the fob is in this locker, and this guy will kill you if you try to open it. And then I realized, after fighting my way out and going all the way back to San Francisco, that I forgot the vertibird plans. So I do the torturous run back there, take out a dozen more enemies, grab the vertibird plans, and book it out of there. The bro hood guy does fuel the tank for me and gives me access to this base where I tell this machine that I glow in the dark, which I wasn't exactly sure what that meant at first, but then I rubbed my two brain cells together and figured out that it probably meant I was radiated and it cured my radiation. So I go to launch the tanker, get a pretty little cutscene, and start my trek through the last area and get ready to face Frank OG Perp Nasty Horrigan. But the first thing you need to do here is take out these turrets because we're not smart enough to use the computer to turn them on our side, so you definitely want to get rid of them now before there's a giant mutated freak and his goon squad of Enclave members all fighting you at once. But I head inside, find my people who are locked up behind the piss shields, and she explains to me in very simple terms what I need to do, but seems a little nervous about my chances.
Here, must have GECK to save village. Freedom is nothing without home to return to. Understand? Oh, gods.
After that, I get electrocuted a bunch, but get rewarded with the best power armor in the game. I did try to talk to the president, but I am a man of few words, and so is he, so I just commit a war crime and stick him with a handful of super stim packs to make him OD and die. Even though I didn't need to, because I can't use his pass on the computer anyway, but I just did it for shits and giggles. After that, I scooted all the scientists away from the computer, dropped some C4, blew up the reactor, and headed to face Frank motherfucking OG Perp Nasty Gorilla Gang Horrigan. And at first I tried to take out the Enclave members on the outside because I thought that they would come in to attack me, and it didn't go well. So instead I did a bunch of drugs and tried to run straight to Frank, and they didn't even notice I was shooting him, so that was pointless. Anyway, he won't talk to me because I'm too stupid and attacks me on sight, but it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be, and I was able to take him out on my second attempt, just by standing right in front of him and filling his body with enough lead to fill every single pencil on the East Coast. After killing him, he said he just triggered the self-destruct button, which doesn't mean anything because this place is already going to blow up soon anyway, and then I head out and finish the game. I did get a few bad endings for all the locations I visited because I really couldn't do much due to my walnut-sized brain, but I still got a few happy endings, so I'm satisfied. So can you beat Fallout 2 as a complete idiot? Yes. Yes, you can. It is much more difficult, and you're going to miss out on probably over half the game's content, but it is a fun challenge and a pretty funny one due to all the dialogue choices. So I had a good time, and here's my final stats if you're curious. Thank you guys so much for watching, especially if you made it all the way to the end. Like and subscribe and all that jazz if you think I deserve it, and let me know what challenge you want to see me do next. Rest in peace, Solek, and have a great rest of your day. Peace.